every part of the Haggada is very important.
This is more complicated.
However, over here the Rambam says, the Rambam talks about anyone who's marble with secret is Mitzrayim. I don't remember exact words. Is Meshubach. And then the Rambam says again, when he gets up to this part, he says, whoever says extra about this specific parsha is an extra hareza meshubach. And the reason is, the simple reason is because this is where we go through the story. If you look through the Haggada, you'll see that the only place where we really say the story of going down to Mitzrayim and that we multiplied in Mitzrayim and then they were bad to us and they hurt us and then we cried out to Hashem and Hashem listened to us and Hashem took us out. This is the story. Here's where it says the story of Super Tzis Mitzrayim. So since this is where the story of Super Tzis Mitzrayim is, this is a fundamental part of the Haggada. So a question that's asked, and we're just going to say a very simple shot, is why do we say this part over here, which is the Psukim in Dvarim, why don't we say something from Shmois Ve'era Boy B'Shalach where the story took place? And the answer is, very simply, if you look over there, there is no real concise sort of version of the story. It's spread out through 4 parshas, and much of it is not necessary to be said tonight. All the times Hashem spoke to Moshe, Moshe spoke to Paro, and Paro spoke to Moshe. We don't go through that. We're just going through basically the story. And this over here is talking about when a person brings Bikurim, so he's supposed to do Vidui Bikurim. And Vidui Bikurim is a person comes and he says, basically goes through a quick synopsis of the history of Klal Yisrael. Right, and then he says, and we went down to Mitzrayim, and this is what Hashem tells you to say when you're doing Vidui Bikurim. Say, this is what you should say. So since this is what it says in the Torah that a person should say, so it's a very good synopsis, so we actually use that synopsis. That's what we use on the night of the Seder. We use the same synopsis that was done by Vidui Bikurim. Good? So what are we doing over here? What we do is, we darshan each word, or each couple words. And each couple words, since it's a synopsis, it's a short form version of the whole story. So after every word or two, we show where in Shemais it says that, or where elsewhere it says something, or we darshan in different ways, but much of the times we just show where in Shemais it says it, and usually it's a longer version and a more detailed version over there. So we sort of use this as like the short version, and that's sort of like a longer version which is taken from over there. That's the basic setup of what's going on. Good? Yeah? So let's go through. So we start off with Arami Ravi V'yem Mitzrayim. The pasuk says that the Arami tried to destroy my father, V'yem Mitzrayim, then we ended up going down to Mitzrayim. V'yagar Sham, the article translates the word V'yagar as sojourn, we sojourn there. V'mseim out with the small numbers, V'hisham L'goy, Godol Otzim Rav. And over there we turned into a great, powerful, and large nation, numerous nation. So in Mitzrayim we turned into a numerous nation. So now we darshan each part. V'yered Mitzrayim, what does that mean? What do we darshan? Onus al pi adibur, compelled by divine decree. What's it telling us? This is a very confusing part. Onus al pi adibur, compelled by divine decree. What does that mean? So if you remember the last week's shir, were you here last week? You weren't here last week.
Evening.
Oh, you were here. Evening, right. You weren't here. Right. So last week's shir, we discussed the idea that the same Hashem who put us into Mitzrayim, who took us out of Mitzrayim, is the same Hashem who put us into Mitzrayim. And last week we discussed why do we thank Hashem, and we said the answer is because it was part of the plan. It was a necessary step in the plan of becoming Klal Yisrael was going down to Mitzrayim, and that was what Hashem said to Avram. Yodoya Teda ki ger yazarach be'eretz lehem v'avonu v'nosam arba me'ah shana. You need to know that this is part of the deal. This is what's going to happen. This is how things are going to go down. And therefore, what it's telling us over here is the year Mitzrayim. Don't think that Hashem saw this lost nation that was being afflicted and punished and decided to save the day. No. The year Mitzrayim, Onus al pi dibur. You went down. This is part of the plan. And that's why it doesn't bring a pasuk. Almost everywhere else, it brings the pasuk. Why doesn't it bring a pasuk over here? Because it just brought the pasuk a few seconds ago. That's where it shows us that it's Onus al pi adibur. So the year Mitzrayim, Onus al pi adibur means that this was with a plan. This is how the Maharal learns. This is with a plan. That it was honest al pi dibur. There was a plan to go down to Mitzrayim. Good. That's point number one. Okay, Vayagar Sham.
But it is interesting there's no pasuk there.
But there is the reason why there's no pasuk is because we just had the pasuk a minute ago.
I know. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is
It's
interesting.
taken from the shvuah that he made to Abraham.
But I'm pretty sure this is the Maral says this. Either that or yeah. Okay, fine. Vayagar Sham. Vayagar Sham means that they sojourn there. Malamish lo yar Yaakov Avinu l'shtakeya b'Mitzrayim. He did not go down to dwell in Mitzrayim. El Vayagar Sham, only to live there temporarily. Shenemar v'yomer al Paroi, when the sons of Yaakov came to Paro, they said, Lo gur ba'eretz banu. We came here to dwell. Because there's no food for the sheep, for our sheep. Because there was a strong famine. And now your servant shall live in Goshen. So what did they say? What was the word they said? Logur be'eretz banu. We came to dwell. So this is a very important point. When Yaakov Avinu went down to Mitzrayim, he did not go down to dwell. When he got up to the immigration desk, and they said to him, what kind of visa would you like to apply for? He said, I would like to apply for a temporary visitor's visa. He never asked to apply for citizenship. And the reason is because a Jew has to understand, and the Maral says this is why we were Zeicha to the Geula. Because they understood when they went down to Mitzrayim, they weren't going down to Mitzrayim to live there, it was temporary. A Jew has to understand that these places in Eretz Yisrael. So it was a temporary situation. There was no food, so they went down, but it was temporary. And because the entire time they were there, they kept it as temporary, therefore there was Zeicha to Geula. Had they made this their living place, it wouldn't have been Zeicha to Geula. So I just say this is a lesson for us also, that we should make sure that, maybe we could get citizenship, but the point is that this is not where we belong, and this is not the setup that it's supposed to be. What it's supposed to be is we're supposed to be in Eretz Yisrael under the times of Mashiach, and now we're supposed to be sort of packed and ready to go. When Mashiach comes, we're off and ready to go.
That being said, the Medrash says there's a lot of people there who made it their home and didn't think that they were. Didn't count as
they stayed.
Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Canaan as being their future home, right? What happened to them during Koshach? They got
it says those people specifically?
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. If you can find that matter, that'll be very helpful.
I think there was Rashi says that somewhere, doesn't he?
Rashi says they were Rishayim, but he says specifically that they made it their home, that they wanted to stay.
But I think because
they wanted to stay.
Why were they Rishayim?
Because they wanted to stay.
I think they wanted to stay.
They got their desire. They wanted to stay. They stayed. And they did stay.
Yeah, they stayed.
No, it was Mida Kanegimid. They had a wish and they got their wish.
It's in.
Okay, let's go further. We'll find it afterwards. Let's go further.
Because I was learning it the other day with my son. Not thinking off the top of my head. I know.
Fine. So then we have Ma'at. We say in the pasuk it was a small amount, with few people. Almost 70 souls that went down to Mitzrayim. And now Hashem made them like the stars of Shemayim. There were so many. Right, so they went down with Shivim Nefesh, a small amount. V'hisham l'goy. Melamed shayishom mitziyanim sham. They were mitziyanim, so we'll come back to them same out in a second. What does it mean, this idea that they were mitziyanim sham? What does the word mitziyanim mean? So the article translates mitziyanim as, you found it?
Yeah.
Distinct.
Just to reference something. It says Lama hevi aleim koshach shayu b'Yisrael be'oto hador rishayim shelo hayu rotzim latzeit. So they shouldn't see him. So that connects with what you said.
Very nice. Yeah.
Just Rashi brings it down.
Very nice. Okay, Vayisham l'goy. Malamed shayisham mitzuyanim sham. They're mitzuyanim sham. What does the word mitzuyan mean? Who's Israeli over here? What does mitzuyanim sham mean? Excel, distinct, right? What does that mean? They were distinct there. What does that mean? So Pashup Shad is like this. A Pashup Shad is like this. Mitzuyanim is from the lashon of distinct, separate. What that means is they were separate there. They were, and where do you see it from the pasuk? We're saying that they were mitzuyanim sham. How do you see it from the words Yisham l'goy? Because it says like this. Over there, they were a goy. They were an independent nation. They were mitzuyanim sham. They were different than everyone else. What does that mean? They didn't change their clothing. They didn't change their names. They didn't change their language. They acted differently. They were mitzuyanim sham. People looked and they were able to say, "Oh, those are the Jews," right? Normally what happens is when a small amount of people go down to a large country, they melt in. America is called the melting pot, right? They melt in, they just become that. But that's not what happened. They remained distinct. They remained mitzuyanim sham. They remained different. And you see it in the pasuk by Hisham l'goy. That over there they were a goy. Good? It's a very interesting machlokes based on this. Question is like this. Someone came to a Moshe and he asked by a bris, he wanted to name his son an English name. Officially give him an English name by the bris. Tommy ben Moshe. Right? Whatever. Some English name, right?
So you should be called the Torah by Tommy?
Yeah. So they asked Moshe if you're allowed to. So Moshe said, yeah. So he said, I'll prove it to you. You have a Papa and all the different names in the Gemara. Those aren't Jewish names, they're Aramaic names.
People named their kid Alexander.
Alexander, right? Well, became a Jewish name.
It became a Jewish name, but at the beginning it wasn't.
My father-in-law's name is Alexander.
But at the beginning it wasn't, right?
Rabbi Ishmael.
Yishmael, interesting. Well, that's a Jewish name, Yishmael. But, so, and the truth is that we dress like God. Even the firmest Rosh Shiva, what does he wear? Usually a suit. Every guy wears a suit, right? A suit, a tie, a white shirt. I mean, you dress like the same as the president, right? The same as a chashuv guy. On Shabbos, we still dress like a guy. We don't dress different than a guy, right? Okay, we wear hats. Until 50 years ago, they wore hats. I mean, everyone wore hats. It's a new thing that hats are different. But we dress the same as goyim. Not that we use English names and we speak English. So we speak their language, we dress like them, and we have names like them. So why don't we do any of these things that they did in Mitzrayim? So Moshe Feinstein said that the pshat like this. This was all kodem matan Torah. Because what was the difference between a Jew and a goy? There was no difference between a Jew and a goy. The only difference was external things. If you want to show you're different, there was external things. But once there was matan Torah, once we became different, once we became klal, so we had the Torah, we didn't need those external things anymore to separate us. We're separate be'etzem. We're separate because of the Torah. Because we keep the Torah. That's what separates us. And therefore, it's okay if we dress like goyim and names like goyim. That's what Moshe said. It's a tshuva. Igros Moshe. The Maisa, someone told me that at the time the Hasidim were very strong, argue against this. And if you look, the Hasidim don't hold like this, right? They try to speak Yiddish, Be'ikr. They dress differently. And they definitely don't use English names.
Like the Goyim did 200 years ago.
That could be.
I understand what?
Okay, but
they're different now.
We dress like the Goyim do today.
Right. They're different now. In other words, they're trying to be different than the Goyim
No
are now.
like that.
But you're asking a good question.
The Amish do.
No, they don't wear frats like that. And pay us out, and they wear their tzitzis over their shirts.
It doesn't matter how the Goyim dressed 200 years ago. It's how they dress today.
Right, the point is to be different, distinct. But anyways, that's what it means. They were distinct there. They were good. They were independent. They were separate. Okay. God of Atzum. So we're just bringing a pasuk of other places where it shows that Klal Yisrael was so large and multiplied, right? V'rav. You'll grow numerous, like the plants of the field, with tirbi with tigli, and you grow older and you got developed, with tova ba'adi adayim, and you came in groups, or means became charming, shadayim nachaynu, right, full in body, your hair grew long, but area, but you ended up being, but you were naked and bare. Okay, so what's that pasuk showing us? It's talking about the times of Mitzrayim, and it says that they were revava ketzemach hasados. You see the lashon of rav is the lashon of growing. What's the next pasuk? Ve'ever alayich, and I'll pass over you. Ve'erech misbeiseses b'damayich, and I'll see you downtrodden in your blood. Ve'amelach b'damayich chai. Ve'amelach b'damayich chai. Through your blood you shall live. Through your blood you shall live. What does that mean? Through your blood you shall live. Through your blood you shall live. So that's talking about the dam of the Korban Pesach and the dam of Milah. Through the blood of the Korban Pesach and through the blood of the Korban Milah, that's what Klal Yisrael lives with, right? So, what's the second pasuk doing here? If you look in the art scroll, you see it says Yechezkel 16:7-6. It's really out of order. We're really bringing pasuk Vav and pasuk Zayin and then pasuk Vav, so it's out of order. So what's going on over here? So the truth is that the second pasuk doesn't really belong here, because all we're trying to show over here is the word V'rav. But since it ended off at the end, that you're naked from mitzvahs, so it said that I'll see you in your blood, and the blood of the Pesach, and the blood of the Milah, it just sort of brought in here agav the first pasuk. But the truth is that many earlier editions of the Haggada don't even have it. That's one point.
Yeah, I've seen it in brackets in certain Haggadas.
Yeah, because it's not really a real part of the Haggada. It's only brought in because of the part before. That's one point to bring up. Another point is like this. So, okay, fine. So, let's see what we have over here.
But it gives some kedai to the Seder.
Yeah, it's like because of the first pasuk, so it brings down the second pasuk also. But the dam mila, dam pasuk.
But it's about vor alike.
Right, I'll pass over you.
Right.
Right.
So
Fine. So now, what does it mean, Rav, that they grew like the grass of the field? So it's a very interesting Gemara. Or Medrash. It's a Medrash. It's a Gemara in Saita. The Gemara says like this. We still have to go back a little bit, but the Gemara says like this. Darsha Bekiva. Bekiva is made a drasha. B'schar nashim tzidkaniyos. Shaya ba'oisei adar. In the schus of the righteous women who were in that generation, Nigalu Yisrael Mitzrayim. Klal Yisrael was redeemed from Mitzrayim. Ma'as. What did these righteous women do? B'shasha holchus l'shamayim. When they would go and they would get water, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mizamlam dagim ketanim b'kadeim. The Hashem would put little fish in their water jugs. B'shayavos mechza mayim mechza dagim. And when they pulled out the water, the jugs, there would be half fish and half water. And they would bring it to their husbands. Slices on steak stairs, and they would heat up 2 pots, one hot water, one hot fish. And they would feed their husbands, and they would give them to drink. And then they would live with them. What does that mean? Because they lived with them over there, so B'kitzur, these righteous women would go, the Mitzrayim, we'll see later that the Mitzrayim didn't want them to be together with their wives, so they kept them out sleeping in the fields at night. So when they finished their work, they just went to sleep in the fields, so they wouldn't be with their wives. And what would the wives do? They would go and they would gather water, and they would bring the water and the hot fish to their husbands, and they would live with them. They would revive them, and then they would live with them. Now, when it came time to give birth, the Mitzrayim didn't want them giving birth either. They would go and they would give birth in the field underneath the apple tree. Under the apple tree I woke you up. This is one of the reasons why we have charosis. Charosis is made from apples. To remember zechel tapuach. To remember the tapuach. That's what the Gemara says. What's the tapuach? Tachas tapuach or articha. Under the apple tree. That's where Klal Yisrael, that's where we were given birth to. Okay, now, so they gave birth over there. What happened? Then they left. They left the babies there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shalech malach. Hashem sent the malach mishmei marim from Shemayim. Umenachko isam, the malach would clean them. Umeshafar isam, they used to do some sort of fixing their limbs. Kechaya zushi meshafer is the vlad. Like a chaya who's meshaper the vlad, right? Like we have shifra, meshaper the vlad, whatever it means exactly. Shneimar l'merlad tich b'yom haladati yashach. On the day that I gave birth to you. Who gave birth to him? Hashem was like the midwife. There would be 2 big circles. Achas shel shemen, achas shel dvash. One was oil, one was honey. They took honey from a rock. Okay. Now, when the Mitzrayim recognized them, they wanted to kill these kids. They don't want them having babies. And a nace happened when they they were swallowed up in the ground. They went underneath, underground. They brought cows. They started to plow to try to kill them. Right? And so I think they went down even lower. The Maisa, that's where they were, right? So Shenemar, where does it say this? You grew like grass from the fields, literally, because these people, they were underneath the ground and they grew like grass from the field. All of a sudden, they came, these big flocks. They came home, right? Older children, they came home. And the pasuk says what? If you look at the pasuk, you grew like plants in the field. You grew and developed. Don't read Adi Adoim, but Adorim. They came in these flocks. Shadam Nachonu, right? They had breasts. They were full in body. Their hair was growing, but they were naked. They didn't. That's Pasuk Shad in the pasuk. They showed up at the door hi, we're home, right? That's why it says, I think, I think there's another medrash or something, I can't remember, but it says that when Klal Yisrael saw Hashem by Zek Kelev Anveil, when they saw Hashem by Kriyas Yamsuf, they said, Zek Kelev Anveil. These kids, they saw, that's Hashem. We know Hashem. He's the one who fed us. I remember him, so when they saw Hashem, yeah, sure, I recognize him. Anyway, so that's one shot of it. In the Revava Ketzemach Hasad in the Sativ. You grew like grass in the field. Good? Another shot is that you grow like grass. Just like grass grows better when it's cut, so too the Jews grow better when they're afflicted. And that's why it says, Kasher Yano, the more they were afflicted, Kein Yirba V'chein Yifres. That's how much they'll grow. Based on how much they were afflicted, that's how much they grew. It's very interesting. Yeah, by the way, it says like this. Parah said, Pen Yirba, and Hashem said, Kein Yirba. Parah said, Pen Yirba, lest they grow. Hashem said back, no, Kein Yirba. That's how much they grow. See a little later. So it's interesting. There's a very interesting fact. Ramban says that Bnei Levi was the smallest Shevet. Right. Why was Bnei Levi the smallest Shevet? Because since they didn't have the Shibud, so they didn't multiply. The only ones who multiplied was based on the Shibud. That's how much they multiplied. But since they didn't have the Shibud, so they didn't multiply. Good? Fine. So now, let's go through the whole thing. What happened over here? They went down to Mitzrayim. The first point is that when they went down to Mitzrayim was honest it was planned. By Yagar Sham. Another important point, that when they went down there, they went down on mind not to live there. They went down in mind to sojourn there, to temporarily. They went down with a small amount. Now, going down with a small amount is a pella, because normally, if a small group of people would come to a nation that's be living as Gerim in a nation, they're not going to grow into 600,000 people. That's not how it works. Normally, it works that in your homeland is a place where you grow, but when you're away, you don't. That's not the time to grow. They went down in Semat, and there, over there, they became a nation, and they were Mitzuyan Sham. They remained separate and distinct, but they were Gadol v'atzim. They were large and powerful, like we find in the pasuk. V'ra, right? They were large and powerful. So, and this is a pella that even though naturally they should have been unhealthy, because since they grew so fast also, so they grew at such a quick rate, they should have been unhealthy. If you have 6 kids, very often, right, some are going to be unhealthy. Still they were atzum, still they were strong. So all these things are different aspects of the pella. The whole time they were in Mitzrayim was like 200 years. Out of 200 years, out of 70 people, came a few million, 2 million people, somewhere around there. 600,000 men between the age of 20 and 60, so whatever that equals to, it equals to a couple million people. So that's a pella. That's part of what we're discussing over here in this pasuk, how much they grew. Fine. So that's the first pasuk. So the first pasuk is talking about going down to Mitzrayim, how they went down, and how they multiplied to such a level, how they multiplied down in Mitzrayim. That's the first pasuk. Good?
How does the Torah define a nation?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, normally a nation, there's certain things that define a nation. Autonomy defines a nation. Land defines a nation. Many things that define a nation.
I mean, I could tell you in the next part, based on what you're saying, that I mean, when Klal Yisrael got the Torah, they became Klal Yisrael. The idea was that they got it. I think someone says it over here actually. That maybe you're right. Maybe someone says it actually over here. That the idea is that they became a nation without land and without any of those things to show. Maybe you're right. To show that the nation of Klal Yisrael is not dependent on any of those things. The nation of Klal Yisrael is dependent on the Torah. It's not dependent on any outside land or anything else, and that's what kept us going throughout the history.
Because they came as a family and left as a nation.
Yeah, interesting. Fine. Now we're up to the next step. This is the growth. Now we're up to the next step. The Mitzrim were bad to us. The Anunu that afflicted us, okay. So you take a look at the wording. It says like this: V'yareu Oisanu HaMitzrim. The Mitzrim did. The article translates did evil to us. But if you translate the words properly, V'yareu Oisanu, it sounds more like this: they made us bad. The Anunu, right? Anyone read or heard the Prime Minister's speech last night? Bibi Netanyahu. Heard his speech last night?
No.
You read it?
Where did he speak?
Oh boy.
APAC.
APAC. You heard it? You read it?
I'll see it tonight on online backup.
Anyways, so he said. So he said, one of the things he said is that the way in history is that the first thing the Goyim always did to the Jews is to, I forgot the wording he said, but was to turn them into the enemy, to turn them into the bad. And that's the first step. And then the physical assault comes next. So unfortunately now in history, it seems to be working. The V'yareu Oisanu. V'yareu Oisanu means like this. Not that they did bad to us, but V'yareu Oisanu, they made us bad. That's called propaganda. They made us bad. Like it says in the pasuk, if you take a look at the pasuk, let's deal wisely with them. Pen yirba, lest they'll grow. Imagine, there's a nice little nation, not bothering anybody, just being nice shepherds. Comes on Paro, let's be smart how to deal with them, lest they'll grow. What do they do? What's your problem? There'll be a machama, they'll join our enemies, they'll throw us out of the land, or they'll leave. Right? It's Shiloh in the Gemara, if it means that they'll leave, or if that they'll force us to leave. This is really a Beis HaLevi. The Beis HaLevi says this, and he says throughout history, the way of the nations was, and still is, to first turn us into bad. That's what it means. V'yareu oisanu. They made us bad, not they were bad to us. So if you learn like this, there's going to be 3 steps to the pasuk, right? First, so not the fact that they were bad to us. The first step is that they did a propaganda, a campaign against us. Yeah? Nunu. Then they afflicted us. They put on them taskmasters, to oppress them with their burdens. Even our mishnahs of Paros Pisum Esramses. They had to build our mishnahs to Paros Pisum Esramses. So what happened at the time? So there's a few different midrashim, but the basic idea is like this. The Medrash tells us that Paro was a king. I mean, imagine nowadays, obviously it's hard for us to understand Egypt at that time. We don't understand the whole, I learned about it in school, but I forgot even how to say it, caste, the whole caste system, right? You know, there's no such thing as getting out of your position in life. There's a whole different way of society, and there's different levels. But the idea is that Paro was he was a monarch of a large nation. He couldn't just start afflicting some group. So one thing he had to do was have a campaign against them. But another thing he did was, he started off like this. He gathered the whole Jews, and he said, Jews historically were always very, pro for the country, and we have to do good, right? So they're patriots, right? So he said, everyone, it's time to build up the land. I saw brought down that, your grandfather, Yosef, was the one who instituted this whole thing. Let's build up storage houses. And he said, let's all do it together. And Paro himself took a shovel and a pail, and he went out, and he got everyone to do it. He sort of imposed a tax that they had to work for the government. And slowly but surely, through many steps, he was able to make a tax a little stronger and a little stronger, until the point where he had them in forced labor. That's called Havanas Chakmaloi, that he himself came out. And that's also the idea we're going to see later, that it was Befarach. Started off soft, and then it was Befricha. Fricha is hard, destructive labor. Befarach is Beperach, with a soft tongue. So it starts off with a soft tongue, and then it's Befricha. Then it's hard, destructive labor. That's a medrash. There's a few different midrashim, similar tones.
By the way, Lenin did the same thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, Lenin once a year would appear in the media carrying a huge board with another guy at the other end for, it was a government Sabbath, it was called, literally called Lenin Sabbath.
Really?
And everybody would work for the government for free.
On that day?
On those days, yeah. And it increases.
And kept increasing. Interesting. Fine, so we had Nunu, and they afflicted them. They put on them taskmasters. Now they made them build Ari Miskinois for Paro as Pisam Esramses. Why specifically Pisam Esramses? So Gemara says Pisam is Pitahoim Balu. The mouth of the depth swallowed it up. And Ramses is Rishon V'Yisroises. as they built it, it sunk. So the idea is they made them build the storage house, but they built it in a place where it was going to sink. And that's the hardest thing psychologically. Psychologically, to work for no purpose is the hardest thing. I think it's called Chinese torture or something. It's like a certain torture is to make someone work. He's grinding I forgot exactly how it goes, but he was grinding a stone mill, and at the end he looks on the other side and there was nothing there. Even if there was something there, it's just going to go feed whoever. Doesn't matter. The point is to keep working for no purpose is terrible. So it was a psychological affliction that they made them build, and it was something that's just going to get destroyed anyways. So what's the next thing? They put on us avodah kasha. So what's this next stage? So there's a few pshatim over here, but Ramban explains that the first step was a work for the king, right? It was a communal work. But then there was another step. You have Vidu Mitzrayim. Each Mitzri turned every Jew into a personal eved. So after he came home from work, after a long day work, then he had to be a personal eved and sweep the floors and whatever they wanted them to do. They made them catch wild animals and make my barbecue. Whatever they wanted to do, they forced them to do. That's another level. Others explain that it was like a next level where they increased their workload when they took away the straw. So either way, it comes out that there was 3 steps, right? The first step is that they turned them into a public enemy. The next step is that they gave them taxes and harsh, pointless labor to the king. And the third step is either they made them work as individual slaves to every individual mitzvah, or they made their work even harder. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. If you keep going, if you'd like, the next pasuk, we can stop. It's 5 to 1. Keep going a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. They cried out to Hashem, the God of their fathers. So this is the third step. So the first step is going down to Mitzrayim, talks about the growth of Klal Yisrael, talks about how they went down. The next step talks about they afflicted them. And by the way, when someone wants the idea of being marba, the secret of Mitzrayim is over here. You talk about a punishment, and you make a kid sort of feel how would you like to be a slave, and imagine someone whipping you. And these are the parts of things to sort of try to eternalize the avdus. Now, what does Jews do when they're enslaved? And Nitzak el Hashem, like I was saying, they cried out to Hashem. And what happened next? V'yishma Hashem es kalenu, Hashem heard our cries, v'yaris anyenu, he saw our affliction, v'esam aleinu, v'esachatzenu, and our burdens and our oppression. So first pasuk, Nitzak el Hashem, like I was saying, we cried out, K'ma shenamar, v'hibi ravim ravim him, and was after many days, v'yamas malach Mitzrayim, and the king of Mitzrayim died, v'ya'anchu b'nei Yisrael min avodah, and the Jews groaned from the avodah, and they cried out, and their cries went up from the avodah. So it's interesting, just some interesting points, nice vart. Why does it say over here, it was after many days, and the Melech Mitzrayim died, and then they cried out? What does the fact that he died have to do with crying out? So there's a few answers brought down in the Rishonim. I'll tell you a few answers. One shot comes from the Das Kenim, the Chizkuni, and the Ramban. And they say that the pshat is like this. The whole time this king was alive, what was their one thing that they were banking on? The whole time that they're sitting as slaves, they're waiting for one thing. Let the king die. When the king dies, then we'll be free. Right? What happened? The king died, nothing happened. Now they're really in trouble. So when their one sort of light at the end of the tunnel came, and it didn't work out, right? Imagine a guy has, in 10 years he's up for maybe being pardoned. So the whole time for 10 years he's able to think, okay, I'm getting out in 10 years, I'm getting out in 10 years. But then after 10 years, he loses his pardon, that's when they cried out. So only after the king died, they thought that once this king will die, the new king will come and everything will be better, but once that didn't happen, so then they did it. So that's why it was only after the king died. That's one shot. Pashut shot. A different shot is, he didn't die. The Yamas Mel Mitzrayim was he got tsaras, and in order, his doctors told him he should bathe in the blood of 150 Jewish children in the morning and at night, fresh blood. So since he killed so many Jews, that's why they cried. Third shot of Barbanasa is a Geshmakab shot that they never let them cry. So what happened? It came time that the whole nation was crying. Why were they all crying? Because the king died. It was like a public crying. So all the Jews also went and cried. But now is their first time they were given an opportunity to cry. So what they cry about? They cried about their suffering. But besides that, they were never given a chance to cry. This was their first chance that they were given an opportunity to cry. So third shot, fine. V'yishma Hashem Eshkleinu, Hashem heard our cries. K'mashanemar v'yishma Elokim es nakasam, v'yishka Elokim es pristos avam v'esitzah v'zakav. He heard and he remembered. So, if you look, it's a little bit interesting. These two psukim are next to each other. The pasuk before says, "V'tal shavas Elokim naveda." Their cries went up to Hashem. Then it says Hashem heard their cries, and then it says Hashem remembered his bristless Avram Esitzah Zakar. If it already went up, so why is he hearing it? So the answer is, this is the Seder of Tefillah, right? We say on every Rosh Chodesh, we say Yala, V'yava, V'yagia, V'yera, V'yeratza, V'yishama, V'yipakid, V'yizacher, right? There's different levels of Tefillah being accepted. Yala means it should go up. Yala V'yava, it should come close. V'yagia, V'yera, V'yeratza, it should come closer and closer. It should be seen. It should be desired. V'yishma, it should be heard, right? V'yizacher, Zuchanev, V'yanev, Zuchanav, V'seinu. These are the levels. So you have over also. Tala is Shavasam is Yala. Then V'yizka, V'yishma, Yala, V'yishma, V'yizka, right? Different steps in Tefillah. Good? Continue? Tell me when to stop. Or you can just leave.
Finish this.
Fine. V'yishma Hashem Eshkleinu, Hashem heard our cries. Next one. Yaris and Yenu. He saw our Inui. What does Inui mean? Zu Prishus Derechers. That's the end of marital relations. Where do you see it from the word Inui? So we find a few times that the word Inui is a lashon of oina, right? A person's chayv to his wife in oina. Oina beininus. You find the word oina as a lashon by marital relations. Fine. Derech eretz is also a lashon of ish in lanu love elenu kederach kol haaretz. Derech eretz is also a lashon for marital relations. Now, Kamashanev, like it says in the Passover, Yar Elokim es b'nei Yisrael, Hashem saw, V'yer Elokim, and Hashem knew. Where do you see anything about marital relations over here? What did Hashem see? He saw what? So the pshat is, first of all, it's part of the tznius. Doesn't mention it, but also, what's the one thing that only Hashem sees? What's the one thing that's between man and his wife is private? No one else knows. No one knows if they were together with their wives. The only one who can know if they were together with their wives was Hashem. That's why it says, V'yar Elokim. What's something that only Hashem saw? It's something only Hashem knows. Good? That's Amalenu and our burden. Elu Abanim, that's sons. Why are sons called burden? Gosh, everyone knows. Call Amal a person is to bring up his children, right? Tuition, chasnas, right? Whatever else. That's lachatzenu. What? That's true. What? Right. Amalenu, that's the work. That's to raise up your children. If you look at the passage, though, it says like this: anyone who was born was thrown into the river, and all the daughters were left to live. Why does it tell us the daughters were left to live? Is it something good about Paro? The answer is, the Gemara says that Paro was, the Mitzrayim were stufei, the Medrash says, that the Mitzrayim were stufei zima. They were covered with zima, they wanted to live with them. So what they did was, they wanted to keep them alive for immoral purposes. So not only on one hand did they want to kill the men, but they forget they wanted the women alive so they could have more ladies. The Bedafka wanted ladies alive. So there's two parts. They wanted to kill the men and Mechol Bas B'chayin. That was also part of the stuff. Okay, V'es Lachatzenu, what's Lachatzenu? That's Zuat Chak. That's the pressure. So there was a pressure. What's the pressure? They would beat them and rush them to fill their quotas. They made them work very fast. So the shayla is why these three things specifically. Hashem saw three things. He saw the stop of marital relations. He saw the fact that he killed their children, the men, the boys, and he saw that they rushed them. Why did he see these three things specifically? So I didn't see many pshatim, but the Barbanel explains that these three things destroy a person emotionally. He says working hard could cause a lot of pain and suffering, but you could do it. But if you destroy someone's family life, you harm someone's children, and pressure without a break, that destroys a person emotionally. That's why Hashem saw these three things, because these were too much to bear. When he saw these three things, this is what he saw. This is the closest. Now Hashem's coming close to Klal Yisrael. We cried out. Hashem heard us. He listened to us. He saw us. He's coming close to us. And now we're ready for Hashem to take us out of Mitzrayim. And that's the next question. Good?
Sure.